Hi, I hope you're having a great day. In today's video, we will continue where we left off last time and discuss another set of National Caregiver Certification Exam questions and of course, their corresponding answers under the category Shakai no Rikai. Are you ready to have a headache? I'm not. Let's go. In our first question, we are to select the statement that best describes the Shogai sha sabetsu kaisho ho. To answer this question, we all need to know what is this? Obviously. Luckily for us though,
you're a lucky man.
This particular question gave us exactly what we need. It says here that Shogai sha sabetsu kaisho ho is a Japanese law that promotes the elimination of discrimination based on disability. Another thing we also need to know about this law that is not written here is that this particular law prohibits unfair and discriminatory treatment of government agencies and businesses. In other words, if you were discriminated against due to your disability by a business entity or a government agency, you are covered by Shogai sha sabetsu kaisho ho. However, if the discrimination done to you was done by a person or an individual, you may not be covered by Shogai sha sabetsu kaisho ho. Again, that is because Shogai sha sabetsu kaisho ho prohibits unfair and discriminatory treatment of government agencies and businesses. So, choice number 1 claims that Shogai sha sabetsu kaisho ho directly articulates specific discrimination in the place of employment. If you read the definition of Shogai sha sabetsu kaisho ho, there is no mention of anything about employment. The law that has jurisdiction over discrimination done within the place of employment is the Shogai sha Koyo Sokushin ho. Choice number 2 claims that Shogai sha sabetsu kaisho ho have penalties for acts of discrimination by individuals. The keyword here is kojin or individual. As mentioned earlier, Shogai sha sabetsu kaisho ho prohibits discriminatory treatment of government agencies and business entities. Choice number 4 claims that municipalities must establish regional councils to support and enforce the Shogai sha sabetsu kaisho ho. Japanese tip. One of the many tips our Japanese professors gave us months before taking the exam is to remember that if one of the choices in the exam contains any of these words, dake, nomi, zettai, zehi, kakujitsu ni shinakereba naranai, there is a huge chance that choice is incorrect. With that line of thought alone, we can fairly guess that choice number 4 is also incorrect. Choice number 5 claims that Sodan Shien Jigyosho are designated as consultation offices or Sodan Madoguchi for cases of discrimination against persons with disabilities. As per the table we've discussed in the previous video, the designated Sodan Madoguchi for cases of discrimination against persons with disabilities are the cities, towns, and municipalities of Japan, or Shichoson. We've discussed more about this table in the previous video, so I left a link in the description down below. Go ahead and check it after watching this video. Okay? This table is very important for those, especially for those who are planning to take on the National Caregiver Certification Exam next year. Although written with the kanji characters for Sodan, Sodan Shien Jigyosho coordinates rather than consults. It connects various facilities needed by a person with a disability, such as hospitals, rehabilitation centers, etc. Choice number 3 is the correct answer. As mentioned earlier, the defining characteristic of Shogai sha sabetsu kaisho ho is that it prohibits discriminatory treatment of government agencies and business entities. Are you still there? Please bear with me. Okay, let's go. Mr. D, 45 years of age, is physically unable to move his limbs and torso due to a spinal cord injury. To utilize the services provided by the Japanese government, Mr. D underwent a disability support accreditation survey where he was placed under Class 3. The question: as a Class 3 disabled person, what care services can Mr. D use? The most important thing you need to know, we all need to know to answer this question is this: Shogai Shien Kubun. Shogai Shien Kubun is a classification tool used to categorize persons with disability and determine what kind of services they can use. There are 6 classifications of Shogai Shien Kubun. The closer you are to Class 1 means you need little care services and support. The closer you are to Class 6, however, means you need intensive care and support services. As per the situation earlier, Mr. D has Shogai Shien Kubun Class 3, which means that his disability requires him to have moderate care and support services. Choice number 1 claims that Mr. D can use Ryoyo Kaigo, or roughly medical caregiving. Medical caregiving is a type of caregiving done by caregivers working in a hospital or a similar health facility. And most, if not all, patients being cared for by these caregivers in a hospital are either terminally ill or have very severe health conditions. Therefore, Ryoyo Kaigo is a service that can only be used by people with severe medical conditions or people who are already terminally ill. Gamay na lang mamatay na. Mr. D has Class 3 Shogai Shien Kubun, which requires his disability to have moderate care and support services. And although Mr. D is a Shitai Fujiusha, which means he cannot move his body freely from neck below, he is not dying. Choice number 2 and 3 are also wrong, simply because of these kanji characters. Judo means severe. Judo Homon Kaigo or Judo Shogaisha to Hokatsu Shien Sabis are services that can only be used by people with severe or very serious medical conditions. Choice number 5 claims that Mr. D can use the Kodo Engo. Kodo Engo roughly means movement or mobilization support. Kodo Engo provides rehabilitative services or support to those people having difficulty moving their extremities. However, the catch is a person can only use Kodo Engo if 1. They have Shogai Shien Kubun Class 3 and above, and 2. They are also intellectually disabled and mentally retarded. Although Mr. D has a Shogai Shien Kubun Class 3, he is neither intellectually disabled nor mentally retarded. Choice number 4 is the correct answer. Tanki Nusho is a kind of service that allows people to be admitted in a caregiving facility a few days a week or a few weeks in a month. And one of the requirements for those people who wants to use Tanki Nusho Sabis is to have a Shogai Shien Kubun Class 1 and above. In this next question, we are asked to select the function of the council established by a local government unit in accordance with a particular law, and that law is the Shogai Sha Sogo Shien Ho. And just like before, to answer this question, we all need to know what is Shogai Sha Sogo Shien Ho. And to do that, all we have to do is to read this note. You might have noticed by now that some questions in the exam have these notes on them. These notes provide invaluable pieces of information to us during the exam.
Sometimes they're useless.
These notes doesn't give us the correct answer, no. But knowing how to use these notes might give us a little bit more chance to pass the exam. For example, in this particular question, we don't know the function of the council established by what local government under what law. I mean, what the how should I know this? How should anyone know this? The way I see it, we have 2 options for this. 1 is to choose any questions we want. There's a huge chance that choice is wrong, but it doesn't really matter because we don't know the right answer anyway. So let's just move on. Or 2, we could do what I did when I took the exam. Read the note. And I mean read the fucking note. So, Shogai Sha Sogo Shien Ho is a law that aims to comprehensively support the daily and social lives of persons with disabilities. The keyword here is in the name of the law itself, Shien, or support or assistance. This law supports or assists people with disabilities. It may have other functions other than that, but the one that is shown to us in this note is that it supports people with disabilities. It is all about support. Please keep that in mind as we sift through the choices. Choice number 2 claims that a council established by a local government unit evaluates Sodan Shien Jigyosho. Again, Shogai sha Sogo Shien Ho is all about support. It doesn't say anything about evaluating something. It's all about support. With that alone, we can guess that this choice might be wrong. Choice numbers 1 and 3 both claim that the council formulates plans. Dude, the note, my man, the note. Read it. It doesn't say anything about formulating plans. It's all about support. So, I think this is also wrong. Choice number 4 claims that the council resolves complaints from people with disabilities. Say it with me. It's all about support. Choice number 5 states that the council shares information on issues related to support systems for persons with disabilities. I mean, if you read that again, the Japanese word for support or assistance is there. So I bet this is the correct answer. Let's find out. Well, how about that? Choice number 5 is indeed the correct answer. And we all did that just by reading the note. Please note, though, that this technique is not 100% perfect. So it is still better to study for the exam. Miss E, 88 years of age, has been living alone and doesn't have any relatives. Her income comes from her pension and the revenue she receives from renting out an apartment unit. She also uses homong kaigo, that is, a caregiver visits her house regularly. Lately, due to the progression of symptoms of dementia, Miss E has no longer been able to manage rent payments from her apartment units. The question, as a homong kaigo jigyosho, which provides homong kaigo service to Miss E, what is the best response in this issue of managing her rent payments? Choice number 1 states that you can advise Miss E to entrust the management of her apartment revenues to a real estate agent. If you own an apartment unit here in Japan, you can certainly entrust the management of your rental payments or the revenue received from renting out an apartment unit, your apartment unit, to a real estate agent. All you have to do is to create a legal contract with the agent and you're good to go. However, it is important to remember that Miss E's symptoms of dementia has been progressing. As such, although Miss E can certainly outsource a real estate agent for the management of her apartment revenues, creating and agreeing a contract with that agent may be difficult for a person with dementia. In choice number 2, you advise Miss E to entrust the management of her apartment revenues to a Nichijou Seikatsu Jiritsu Shien Jigyo. Nichijou Seikatsu Jiritsu Shien Jigyo are businesses that provide a wide variety of daily support services, which includes personal account deposits, withdrawals, and payments. However, Nichijou Seikatsu Jiritsu Shien Jigyo does not manage apartment unit revenues. Aside from that, using this particular service also requires creating and agreeing to a contract, which, as we already established earlier, doing those things might be difficult for Miss E or for a person with progressive dementia. Choice number 3 is also wrong. Homong Kaigo Jigyosho only provides visiting caregiving services. They have no legal right to touch an elderly's money at all. If you choose choice number 5, then it means you really have a huge trust in your neighbor even if you have dementia. Choice number 4 is the correct answer. But what in the actual is a Seinin Koken Seido. Seinin Koken Seido is a government-backed system created to assist people who are worried about making important decisions on their own due to a disability or dementia. Basically, this is a guardianship system for adults. Under this system, a guardian, a person you're not related with at all, is allowed by law to make or sign contracts on behalf of the elderly. The guardian is also legally allowed to manage financial matters on behalf of the elderly. There are a lot of elderly in a caregiving facility here in Japan that doesn't have any relatives at all. No children, no siblings, no one to ask for help. In this particular situation, the government offers the Say Nikko Kensedo, where the elderly can use this particular system to ask the government for a guardian. That guardian will manage everything that needed to be managed in an elderly's life, while that particular elderly will live the rest of her life or his life within a caregiving facility. So that's it for today's video. I'm tired, but I really do hope you've learned something from this one. If you do, please leave a like, a comment, and of course, share this video with an interested friend. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. It really means a lot to me. It might just be a simple click for you, but for me, it means a lot. Thank you. In the next video, we will continue this particular path and we'll continue to discuss another set of questions and their corresponding answers under the category Kaigo no Kihon or Fundamentals of Care. Don't worry, we will not be talking about laws at all. As always, thank you for your time watching this video. See you in the next one. Bye. We all need to know what is showcase. No problema. Cut.